Hello friends, today I have a quick tip for you, not a long video, but a very important one. For those of you that starts dabbling into designing, and you don't have to be an experienced quilter to do this, but the moment you start playing around on paper with a quilt design, this is super important. Let's say for instance you're playing around with a ruler, and I have here the Handy Quilter Wave F. It's a really nice ruler with a fabulous two curves, basically two different curves on the two ends. And you play with a design on a border. And that's what I've done here. I've used the shallow curve. I have a border design or a border edge. In this instance, this was a 3-inch wide border that I've just drawn, and I have a center line. And what I've done is I've placed my ruler on the center line so that I have my curve centered over the center line, meaning I have a dip on the one end and a bow on the other end spaced equally. And I used my black pen and I literally just traced my curve, right? So that's what I then get. There's my template drawn out, and I then offset it by 1/4 of an inch using one of the reference lines on our ruler, and I drew that. I then went ahead and just turned my ruler so that I can get the opposite or the mirror image of that curve on that same center line. Just flip the ruler, there we go, and I drew that line and offset again and drew that line. And now I have this cable design, which I really like. It's a 1/4 of an inch band basically, and it creates this shallow section or narrow section with a wider section, narrow section, wider section. I really like this. I think this can look really fabulous on a quilt, something a little bit different. And then you go to your quilt and you lay out your 3-inch wide border, you have your center line, and you start quilting, and it looks nothing like you have on paper. Why? Because you forgot that your needle is offset by 1/4 of an inch from your ruler. And that is why it is so important that we work with a drawing wheel. That's this little disc and a little offset drawing wheel. We get them in different colors. They're a 1/2 inch diameter with a hole in the center for your pen or pencil. And now whenever we are doing any design work or planning work on paper or on your preview paper, plastic, on your yellow golden threads paper, we make sure that we do it with our drawing wheel to simulate our needle offset from our template or our ruler. So now when I place my ruler in the exact same placement as I did on this design, so on the center line of my border, again, so that my curve is offset the same distance on the bottom side as on the top side of that center line, and I now use my drawing wheel, which will give me that 1/4 of an inch offset, and I'm going to draw in a red line. This is now going to give me a true reflection of what this design will stitch out to be. Let's see. I'm only going to do just that little section, and I shift my ruler, so I offset it so it lines up with that 1/4 of an inch offset line on the ruler. So I'm doing exactly the same movement as I did on the black design, but I'm using my drawing wheel so that I can illustrate to you the difference in what the design will look like when I stitch it out. And already you will see that the curve is no longer centered around the center line, and that my band is about 1/2 inch width and not 1/4 of an inch width. So I'm going to turn my ruler around and do the same thing as I did on the black design. Move a bit forward so I have space to fit everything in. I beg your pardon, my hand might be a bit in the way. The importance of a drawing wheel. Now, you're going to ask the next question will be, where do you get a drawing wheel? If you are in South Africa, so for our Handy Quilter South Africa customers, or any quilter in South Africa, when next you purchase items from our handyquiltersa.com website, any goodies from Claire, add in a couple of drawing wheels. They are like 30 or 50 cents each. Unless you want to order just those, you're welcome to. Let's see. This is what our actual design will look like. Big difference. You will be greatly disappointed if this is what you wanted, but this is what you're going to get when you stitch it out, because your planning went wrong because you forgot that offset. Drawing wheel, super important when it comes to planning on paper with your rulers and templates. If you are elsewhere, not in South Africa, if you are in the States, you will be able to get drawing wheels from a couple of outlets. I will add some links in the link box, in the description box below the video here for you. I hope this helps you. Enjoy!